Have you ever noticed that loading bars have a secret sense of humor? They race through 1%, 25%, 60%, and you're thinking, wow, this is fast. But then, bam, at 99%, they just sit there, frozen. Like your computer suddenly decided to go on a coffee break, and you're staring at the screen, wondering, is it broken? Is it mocking me? Or is this some evil programmer's prank? Well, the truth is actually way more fascinating. Today we're diving into the mystery of why progress bars love to mess with our patience. And trust me, once you know the secret, you'll never look at 99% the same way again. Hi everyone! Welcome to Imagine What? This is the place for big ideas, wild imagination, and creative thoughts of all kinds. If that excites you, don't forget to like and subscribe. Your support keeps me going. And drop your ideas in the comments, because the next video might just be inspired by you. Alright, that's enough chit-chat. Let's dive into today's topic. Here's the thing, progress bars aren't as honest as they look. When you see 99%, it doesn't literally mean 99% of the work is done. In fact, progress bars are more like optimistic storytellers. They're programmed to give you the feeling of progress, so you don't close the app out of frustration. Imagine if a progress bar stayed stuck at 10% for 5 minutes. You'd probably smash your keyboard. So instead, developers make the bar move quickly at first to keep you calm. But at the end, things get tricky. The reason the last few percent take so long comes down to complexity. Early tasks are easy copying files, downloading chunks of data, or initializing basic code. But the final steps, that's where your computer is double-checking, verifying, and cleaning up. It's like when you pack for a trip. You can throw most of your clothes into a bag in minutes, but then you spend half an hour looking for your toothbrush, your passport, and that one missing sock. The last part is always the hardest. And here's the kicker. That final 1% is often unpredictable. Sometimes it takes seconds, sometimes it takes hours. That's why progress bars can feel like liars. They're based on estimates, not guarantees. Now, here's the fun part. This isn't just about computers, it's about people. Developers know that humans are impatient creatures. If the bar moves too slowly at the beginning, we lose hope. So, progress bars are designed with psychology in mind. They speed up at the start to give us confidence. But at the end, when the computer is doing unpredictable tasks, they slow down. It's a clever trick to keep us from quitting. Psychologists actually have a term for this, the effort justification effect. Basically, when we've already waited a long time, we're more likely to keep waiting because we feel invested. Imagine you're standing in line at a theme park. You've already been in line for 45 minutes, and suddenly someone says, it's going to be another 10 minutes. Do you leave? Probably not, because you've already put in the time. Progress bars work the same way. At 99%, we're already too invested to give up. So what's actually happening behind that frozen bar? A lot of the time, the computer is running checks that you don't see. Maybe it's verifying data integrity, making sure files didn't get corrupted. Maybe it's cleaning up temporary files, or compressing data so it takes up less space. Or sometimes, it's waiting for responses from other servers, and that can take an unpredictable amount of time. These background tasks are messy, and they don't always fit neatly into a percentage completed scale. Think of it like moving into a new house. You can carry the big furniture in quickly, couches, beds, tables. That's like the first 80% of a progress bar. But then, you spend hours dealing with little things, plugging in appliances, setting up Wi-Fi, and finding where you put the scissors. That's the final 1%. And if you've ever wondered why sometimes your progress bar even jumps backward from 95% back to 90%, this is not your imagination. Some programs actually recalculate estimates on the fly. It's like the computer admitting, "Oops, I thought I was almost done, but actually, nope." Now, let's talk about why 99% specifically feels so annoying. If the bar was stuck at, say, 43%, you might think, okay, it's just slow. But when you see 99%, your brain screams, we're basically done. That creates a psychological tension. Your expectation of being finished collides with the reality that you're not. That gap is what makes waiting unbearable. Psychologists describe two forces at play here: the sunk cost effect. Once we've already waited, we're reluctant to quit, and the goal gradient effect, which makes the final stretch feel disproportionately intense because we're so close to the finish. Together, they trap us in a mental waiting room. There's also a cultural element. Humans treat 100% as a symbol of completion, perfection, success. So when something stops at 99%, it feels like a broken promise. It's like baking a cake and pulling it out of the oven at 99% baked. Or watching a movie that freezes just before the final scene. It drives us crazy because our brains crave closure. That's why so many memes exist about progress bars. They perfectly capture that mix of frustration and comedy, our desperate desire to get to the finish line, and the machine's stubborn refusal to let us. Now, if you ask programmers, they'll tell you, we don't do this to torture you. We hate it too. Developers often rely on algorithms that estimate completion time based on averages, but computers don't always behave predictably. A file might be harder to compress, a network connection might slow down, or the operating system might get busy with other tasks. So the 99% isn't evil, it's just honest chaos disguised as progress. In fact, some developers even admit they intentionally fake smoother progress bars, because a lying bar is often less frustrating than an honest one. Have you ever noticed that waiting for a loading bar feels way longer than it actually is? Like, you can watch a 5-minute YouTube video and feel fine, but waiting for a 30-second loading bar can make you lose your mind. Why is that? Well, it's not just the computer tricking you, it's your brain playing games on itself. Psychologists have found something called temporal distortion. That's a fancy way of saying time doesn't always feel like it passes at the same speed. When you're distracted, time feels faster. But when you're staring at that tiny progress bar, every second feels like an eternity. This is why many modern apps try to distract you with animation, tips, or even jokes while loading. They're not just being cute, they're hacking your brain so you don't rage quit. Another psychological factor is the completion bias. Humans love finishing tasks. It's wired into us. That's why crossing something off a to-do list feels so good. But when a bar gets stuck at 99%, your brain thinks, I was so close. Just give me the satisfaction. That frustration is real, and tech companies know it. Some even design their progress indicators to overshoot and backtrack, just so you feel like something is happening. They were basically educated guesses, sometimes showing progress just to keep you calm. That's kind of what your PC does. But here's the kicker. Most systems aren't lying to you maliciously. It's simply really hard to predict how long a task will take. Downloading a file depends on internet speed, server response, and a dozen other factors. Compiling code depends on the complexity of your project. So the 99% problem isn't because engineers are evil, it's because the future is unpredictable. The bar is just a messenger. So next time you see that 99%, don't get mad at your computer. It's just as confused as you are. Think of it like a friend who said, I'll be there in 5 minutes, but really meant 15. Annoying? Yes. Malicious? Not really. So now we're at the finish line. We've explored the psychology, the technology, the drama of suspense, and the fun exaggeration of loading bars. But here's the real kicker. Why do we still have them in 2025? Shouldn't everything just load instantly now? Well, not exactly. Even though our internet speeds and processors are crazy fast compared to the early 2000s, the complexity of modern apps, games, and websites has exploded. A video game today isn't just a few megabytes, it's hundreds of gigabytes, filled with textures, physics engines, and online servers. That complexity still needs time to load. And sometimes, the 99% pause isn't really about speed, it's about error checking. Before finishing, the system double-checks if everything is ready to go. Think of it like your mom yelling, "Wallet, keys," before you leave the house. It's not that she doesn't trust you, it's just making sure nothing breaks halfway. So next time you see a loading bar freeze, don't get mad, take a breath, maybe grab a snack. Or here's a wild idea, pretend it's dramatic tension, like the cliffhanger of your favorite TV show. Because in a weird way, loading bars are little storytellers. They pull you in, hold you in suspense, and then finally release you into the next world. Thanks for watching Imagine What. If you picked up something new today or it just got your imagination running, make sure to hit like, subscribe, and share your ideas in the comments. We might dive into your crazy thought next time. Thank you. Bye.